Hi, Anja.
Hi, Tansy. How are you?
I'm really good. Yeah, I'm really well at the moment. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Things are good, and I'm really enjoying the green leaves behind you.
Oh.
It's the same scenario, the same layout we get to see, but then each time sort of the lighting is different, the leaves are a bit different. So I'm enjoying that.
They may turn brown soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm surrounded by green actually. Like in front of me are lots of windows and to the sides. So I've got a surround of green, which I love.
Yeah.
It helps to connect me.
Yeah, actually I do too, but somehow I'm facing this way.
Mm. Lovely.
Maybe because I want to see the trees when we're
Yeah.
talking.
So today we decided to go really around the theme of what we're all embracing or experiencing at the moment in terms of the kind of meta economic story, which is a bit of like an economic crisis. And in terms of Bitcoin and crypto, where we have these crashes, right? So they happen in cycles. We have these big downtrends, like moving into a bear market. And so what we wanted to do was we really wanted to speak to this period of descent and sort of financial fluctuation and crises and difficulty, and just come to it and say, like, how can we navigate those periods of descent? So I think we wrote down sort of how to stay calm in a crash or financial crisis. So it's really sort of playing with that theme, how to stay calm.
Yeah. I mean, what immediately comes to mind when you say that is, and I think this is one of the key parts of investing in crypto or investing, is starting with the money that you're willing to lose so that you don't lose, because that's, I think, more than the panic and fear comes in stronger when you've put in money into a market that does then go down and you've lost potentially money that you need for your house or your car or your food or so I think that's one of the big parts of especially when you start getting in. You can start out with any amount. It can be very small, but it's the amount that you're willing to lose in case, and it's not forever, but it's a loss or a decrease in that little bucket of savings during a bear market.
That's such an important place to start, and I'm so glad you spoke to it. It's really, yeah, our exposure to risk, and whatever space you're putting your money into, there is always risk. So you've got to know what is a comfortable risk for you, and that might be really small or it might be bigger. But whatever you invest in any market, always make sure that you can afford to lose it. I mean, absolutely amazing point. Yeah. Mm. And we can sort of, we'll sort of talk out why, if you haven't got, no matter how much money you lose, it's always a difficulty. It's always like going to be hard. But if it's not really affecting the normal functioning of your life, it's not all of your savings, it's not going to prevent you from, say, buying that house or doing those repairs, then it's money that, ultimately you didn't want to lose, but you could afford to. But when when you're risking money that you really needed, that's when it becomes emotionally challenging, because it gets to that place of safety, where actually you feel unsafe. And that's when you start to have deep emotional responses. It can bring up a lot of old challenging patterning. It can really bring up trauma, because we are accessing that place of lack of safety. So whatever money you invest in any place, never let it be an amount that would affect your ability to feel safe in your life. if you lost it.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring up the house, the house money, because I mean, I got into crypto in end of 2019. I started, and I was thinking, I had recently bought a house, and I needed to fix the stairs, the back stairways, which is a bunch of wood, lots of wood. And it's an expensive adventure to redo your back stairs, especially if you have 2 floors. And so I thought, oh, well, I could put some money into, something I'm willing to invest to try to get more money, but it's not going to, I can have those stairs still stand as they are for years to come. It's just, it was like this upgrade. And so I put in the money to try to get more. And then, of course, I did get more money because the market did go up. But then, and this will be another video, I didn't take out my gains. And so now in the bear market, that those gains that I could use for fixing the stairs are now not available. They will be. But again, the stairs, I knew the stairs it wasn't like this essential thing that I needed to have money for. So I just wanted to offer an example of kind of a potential way of looking at investing your money, but making sure it's not like essential, because I still have money for the things like if something goes wrong with the house, I have that accessible. So.
Yeah, and I wanted to speak to that where you were saying that it could, it could rise again. And that's the thing with investments as well, or certain investments. It's ideally you'll want to be choosing ones that will rise again. And so, because you have these cycles where prices sort of rise and fall in a healthy market, when they're not fully propped up. But so what you want to remember as well is that most of the time you won't be losing that money. The money will essentially, if we're thinking about it in fiat terms, it's like, especially when we're thinking Bitcoin to fiat, it's losing its fiat value. But the amount of Bitcoin you have, the amount of Satoshis you have doesn't change. You have the same amount of Satoshis, whether it's highly valued in fiat in dollar terms, or if it's low valued in dollar terms, it's the same amount of Bitcoin. So it's just the value of it that is shifting, but you actually haven't lost anything in the bear market unless you sell. And then you're obviously, if you bought, you put $20,000 in to buy Bitcoin, and then it drops to 10,000. So you only have $10,000 worth of Bitcoin and you sell it. Well, you have lost 10,000. But if you hold that 10,000 and then wait for the rise, you won't have ever lost money. It just, you have to kind of extend your time plan. It's like you have to wait longer. Just need to have a longer time horizon, essentially, whenever you're investing anything, which is why it could get lost. You could lose it if you sold it, or if the asset that you have goes to nothing. But it could also just be that you have to not sell it for a long time. So that's why you need to have that ability to kind of just leave it and pull back and just let it be for a while.
It's also, things get really slow. They're not as exciting. There's not, right now Bitcoin is just going sideways. And so there's a lot of downtime, and it's such then, because of that, a good time to learn, to really dive deep into whatever you think is important. I mean, for me, I really want to dive deeper into sort of the theory behind Bitcoin, especially, and the blockchain and the concept and the white paper, so there's just so much time now to learn. And you see that also sort of across the crypto world, everybody's now working on building and learning and having discussions, because when a bull market comes, then it's just like, what? Everybody's, getting crazy and excited, and all kinds of new, so I was just thinking about the news. I mean, there's so much news coming out, too. So it's really great. Like Twitter is such a good spot, when you find the right people to follow, where you can learn so much. They'll send you to YouTubes, they'll send you to articles to learn about Bitcoin, and there's so much development. So you can really see that even though we're in a bear market in crypto, I mean, there is so much going on underneath building crypto and getting it ready for the larger world to adopt, which is quite a bit of development that's needed for that. And so it's just the perfect time to learn. Kind of like fall, like I'm just looking outside and I see, it's autumn here, and as it is by you too, but our leaves are all yellow already. And it's just, autumn has always been my favorite time of year, because it's a time where you just feel, at least in the Northern Hemisphere, that's, has seasonal change. I find it to be a really wonderful time to pause and reflect and process and learn. And so it's sort of interesting, I find, that crypto is sort of, well, we've been in a bear market for a while now, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's so important. Like with any descent, we live in cycles of day and night, of life and death, of darkness and light, of deep and up. It's like we live in these cycles of descent and rising. And the markets are the same. They have these waves, this descent and then this lift. And that descent is going down. It is going down into yourself, into the sort of darkness, into hibernation, into a sense of kind of bringing it in and using that space as the seed, as like that seed under the earth. It's like that growing space so that you can rise with that rising tide, or like the rising year. And so that's such a beautiful example. Like we are in fall at the moment, we are in autumn. But no matter where you have that kind of financial crisis, or whenever you have that descent, it kind of can be like it's like the crypto or stock market fall, like we call it the fall, and like descending into that winter space. And what can happen in that percolation of like the darkness, what can happen in the in that time where you're not kind of out there, and the sort of, when we think about the summer, we think about being really busy and bustling and exposing. Whereas like in that depths, we can really explore the heart of things and really get everything together so that when spring comes, we can rise up with that seasonal change. And it's the same, obviously, with the cycles of the market. We can rise up with that market. And like you said, when you have a bull market, it's so intense. Like there's so much kind of excitement and lift, and everyone is talking about all of these different projects and all of the things that are happening, and you kind of feel like you're missing things. It's just it's a full rising into a sort of summer state, and it's not a great time to learn, because you always feel like maybe you've got in at the wrong time, or you don't have time to learn because you're supposed to be focusing on what's going on in the market. And so, like you said, the absolute perfect time to learn is in a bear market. And it's kind of quiet, it's still, it's calm, you can take your time. And like you were saying, there are so many informative places to develop your understanding of crypto, but also obviously we teach a course, and it's the fundamentals, the foundation of everything that you kind of need to learn as you move into the space, the safety, the security, the all of the essentials of how to buy, but also how to stay calm, so that, and how to nourish your emotions, like how to nourish that, like all the elements of yourself, so that when it's rising, when you're kind of being swept up, you're able to, one, have a really good understanding of what's going on. Two, you're able to help calm those emotions, or to help move through them or understand them. And you're able to make kind of good decisions. And then you can add to that sort of foundation, you can add all of the information from different YouTube, different podcasts, different videos. There's so many good things out there, but when you're trying to learn the fundamentals through all this like bitty information, it's actually really difficult. So not to fully publicize the course, but we do offer this very good foundation. And if there's ever a time to learn, it's like a bear market is a brilliant time. So yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree. Yeah, and I like that you mentioned the emotions and navigating those emotions, because they're going to show up. I mean, that's who we are. We're emotional beings. You know, it's such an important part of the evolutionary process of animals, is these emotions and the fear, and the elation, you know, and how, you know, it's a complicated process, but it's, you know, I hear a lot in investing, whether it's crypto or the general stock market, about not listening to those emotions, suppress those emotions, or don't be in those emotions, like it's a bad thing. And I understand the concept, the idea that they're trying to articulate about, you know, if you're so afraid that you suddenly sell all your Bitcoin, that's not the best strategy. But I think we have to embrace, like you said, we have to embrace those emotions, because they are of us and they say so much. They let us know important things. It's just then, how do you navigate it in a space that's not necessarily the space we evolved in, you know, out in the wild? Sort of the investment space is a very different kind of space, where you do have to set things in place to navigate those emotions that come and figure it out. What is, you know, what are my next steps, or should I not take any steps? And that's sort of where that intellect part is very helpful, but you don't want to separate the two. I mean, this is what we're so learning in the last, I don't know, more and more people are learning this, that you don't squash your emotions. They say so much, and it's so unhealthy to do that. It's just a matter of really like diving into them. What are they saying? And then also integrating your intellectual component. And okay, so if I am really fearful about Bitcoin crashing, what is my strategy? What do I really believe in? And set that in place, so that when those emotions come up and you listen to them, you can go and look at your strategy and say, okay, when I'm afraid, I should really be thinking about this to help me navigate that. And I don't know, I've just really felt that lately a lot, how important it is to bring the two together, you know, and the body too, because this is all a body thing too. These emotions express themselves in these tangible feelings, you know, sweat and shaking, or, you know, all kinds of, you know, it's all integrated. So we need to, I think, also integrate in the investment world. What do you think?
Yeah, I really agree. And on so many levels, because when the price goes low, we can often feel low. When the price goes high, we can often feel high. Like, we can be really affected by the price of things, of the value of things. Particularly, we put so much of ourselves into money and into value, which is another piece that is really important to look at in oneself, is like, how can you separate yourself from that monetary value, that your value in who you are is in no way connected to your tangible economic value, right? So if the price is going up and you're making it, that should be no indication on your right value. And if it's going down, that should be no indication on your value. But the thing is, we are so kind of consumed with this money story, that when whatever the money is doing, we're fed into that. Our emotions are fed into it. Our sense of power or disempowerment is like directly affected by the value of our money. And so part of it is just, sometimes it's just taking this bird's eye view, is just like drawing ourselves back and away from our money, and realizing that it is not us, that we are incredibly valuable just as we are, no matter what that money energy is doing. It is not us. So that's one piece which is really important. But like what you were saying is that when we are in a state of, calm and reflection, we can create really good strategies. So you say, okay, I'm going to buy a little bit of Bitcoin at this price and buy a little bit more at a lower price. And if it goes like super low, I won't sell, and I obviously want to wait for it to go super high, and I'll just either keep keeping it, I'll keep hodling it, or I will skim, I'll sell some and make some profit, or I'll sell the whole lot and make a lot more profit. So you have this sort of strategy that you can create. But I've seen it with students where you say to them, okay, if you're buying now and it drops by half, how are you going to feel? Like, are you going to be okay with that? Are you confident that you want to put this much in at this price? Not being a financial advisor, just like questioning their own decisions. And they say, yeah, no, I won't mind at all if it goes half, like goes down by half or goes down by 80% or 90%, I'll still be fine. And then when it happens, they freak out, and you can see like it's this amazing kind of emotional roller coaster where they start to, because when you're living it, it's a totally different experience from when you're observing it from an unemotional place. When you're just watching, you're like, yes, intellectually I'll be fine and I know exactly what to do. When you are living it, you do have that emotional response. And so having a strategy that you stick to is really helpful. It's like your kind of Bible. It reminds you when you feel shaken is to just stay steady and say, no, this was a plan. Like I knew that I would hold it if it went this low. And I would sell it if it went this high as well, which is also important, is when it's going up, is to make sure you're executing what you decided to do when you were in that more objective state of mind. And so I would say it's important to kind of withdraw, like when you're creating a strategy, is to withdraw from your emotions in a way, is just to look at everything in a really clean way. But when you're in the emotions, using that as a Bible, but not, like you said, not neglecting those emotions. So knowing techniques to bring calm, to bring safety, and that can be from like disconnecting from your connection to that value. And the other is to understand what you're experiencing, like going into that emotion. So you're really witnessing it. It's like, what do I really feel? And very likely underneath it will be either fear or greed, which are your emotions come from that. You're like, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I feel so excited that I know I should buy. But if you went into that excitement, what is underneath? And most often it will be this like greed. It's like, it's going to go higher. It's going to go higher. I need to buy it now. And so you need to really watch that to see, like, because you want to buy into fear and you want to sell when people are feeling greedy. So there's this. So when you're feeling greed underneath, it's like, is this a good time to buy, or should I be waiting? So it's really important to be in conversation with your own emotions to see how you're responding to the market, so that you can also come back into control, and to know how to also turn away and be like, that market is not in my home, in my space. Like, I have to also create techniques to separate myself from what is going on out there. And that's like through zooming out, through calming practices of meditation, but mostly it's just separating yourself from that monetary value. It is not you. And the more that you give it that power over you, that it defines your happiness and it defines your anger and it defines your grief, you have given your power over to something else. So you are no longer in control. And that's part of something that is really important to look at.
I love that. I love that. Thinking about it as the disconnection should be between how you value yourself, and it shouldn't be this external thing like the money. It's yeah. I mean, I think that's where that separation needs to be. Where I'm like struggling with, well, I don't want to like separate from my emotions. I mean, and I think part of it is like, I mean, I also got into crypto because it felt good, whatever emotion that was, or was it a gut feeling? I mean, I just had that sense, this is a good place. This place excites me. It makes me happy. I see potentiality for my future. I see the people that are in the space that are also happy and excited. So there's all these beautiful emotions within the crypto space, so you don't want to block those out. It's great to feel happy and excited, and And also you made me think about your explanation just now about how actually being in crypto, especially crypto, because it does go up and down so often, what a great space to learn about. You're kind of pushed into learning about yourself and what it is you really value and how to value yourself and how to navigate that space about pulling, looking from above, pulling away, and being sort of in this calm state and watching and navigating. And I think actually it's great therapy to be in crypto because it really forces you to navigate that kind of that self. So I recommend it for everybody.
Yeah. I literally, couldn't agree more. And I think that's what I really hope for with the program as well, and like what we give, because we really focus on that piece of value, on that value of oneself. But it's really that's a sort of embracing and a nourishing, because it's also like, where are your fears around money, and like how to like disconnect from the money and yourself, knowing that you hold value in yourself. But it's actually like we're holding that and embracing that, but it is like there is something about Bitcoin that breaks open, that breaks you open. And when you like, that's the sovereignty piece. It's not just about owning the property of Bitcoin. It's like you step into the fullness of your power in all ways. Because when you take your power back from like financial institutions, when you take power back over the money, there is something that fundamentally shifts within you that makes you realize that you can take back power from everything. And actually, those things don't have to hold power over you anymore. And it's like this kind of this rippling, which suddenly you step into a completely different way of being. And Bitcoin is like therapy, and it is one of the most extraordinary things to learn in terms of like becoming self-empowered. And I think that's why I always say it literally changes your life. Like learning about Bitcoin, particularly in like an organized, like focused way around that point, it will change your life. You will not be the same person that you were going into the space as you were like once you're in, and you're understanding your whole relationship to money, value, centralization, even like other people, like everything changes. And it's like, I think I don't know how much was really understood, in terms of when Bitcoin was released. Like, it was released as this global currency, a global decentralized currency, but did they know how impacting that would be on a human psyche? Because it really does, I don't know if it was a deliberate, or whether it's just like, it's just the product of that, of that understanding. And it's the most extraordinary thing. And I think that's why, we show up every day to work with Bitcoin, to teach it, to guide people into this place of self-value, to to work with those elements, because it's so important and it's so empowering. And it's the work I did before was, and the work I still do in my other part of my life, is as an empowerment counselor. And for me, people say, well, crypto and counseling, like, how do they go together? And it's like, they absolutely go together. And it's so extraordinary, because money is one of the most, it's one of the most kind of connective pieces in our life. It's the heart often for most people's like sense of safety and sense of value. So when you can separate that, it's just so empowering.
And it's interesting because we got to know each other through the counseling part. And then we both dove in together even deeper into the crypto Bitcoin part. And it is this magical thing that just gives you so much empowerment. And like you said, it pushes you to re-reflect on your surroundings. And, in terms of power and government and finance and fiat, and it just sort of leads you. It's not like, and that's again, like sort of, I don't know if that's the emotional aspect, but it just kind of takes you along on this ride. You're not intellectually thinking, oh, I'm going to think now more about politics and I'm going to think more about governance and fiat. You don't think that. It just sort of you just guided into that space and just re-understanding, resetting yourself and how you navigate the world. So it's like, ooh, I get tingles.
I do too. And it opens so many possibilities up. Like, I never thought I would be that interested in learning about, really hardcore economics. And I'm loving it because it's like associated to Bitcoin. Like, I just love it. And you become like this sponge for all of these things you never knew you wanted to learn. And suddenly you want to learn it and you feel so excited, and it empowers you even more learning about it. And I think I wanted to bring it back as well to what you said earlier about the community and our connection to one another. You were saying how I don't think you were saying about particularly like Twitter or YouTube, but you were just saying about like coming together, that we're in this sort of this thing together. And I think that's something to be really aware of, is that a way that power structures try to isolate and try to create fear is through like isolation, or is through feeling that you are alone with that, or you don't have anyone else, that you're the one who's losing money, and you're the one who's made a mistake, and you're the one who has failed, and there's no hope for you. It's like this, like you kind of descend into this pit of self kind of despair, when actually we are all in this together. There are so many, whatever financial system you're looking at, if you're looking at Bitcoin, crypto, our economies, we're all in it. We're all experiencing it the same. Like, whoever's in that, they're experiencing it. And the more that you can connect and communicate and be in like the presence of others who are going through what you're going through, you help to it's not just lifting each other up, but it's seeing that you are not alone, because loneliness really can lead to that insecurity and that deepening of fear and the spiraling. So it's so important when you are going through any financial crisis is to look up and find community, bring people in rather than pushing them away. It's really powerful. And I think that's why you were saying it around the excitement of also being in Bitcoin and in crypto, in this community. It's true. Everyone is, like we were saying, like people are building projects right now in this bear market. People are still like tuning in, saying how excited they are. Loads is going on. Like, we're all in this together. We are all watching the same bear market, but that we're all experiencing the same thing. And the power that you see in other people, kind of putting that aside, being like, I'm not connected to the value. It doesn't matter to me what price Bitcoin is. And I'm just going to keep creating and doing what I need to do. Like, that is so inspiring. And then it inspires you and you inspire someone else. And suddenly we're all inspired together, no matter what the value is. And so there is a real lifting in community. And I think that's a key with decentralization. And I think it's the key with Bitcoin, because it's a global decentralized currency. It only works when we are all in it together. There is no centralized authority. We all are part of making the system work. And so it's almost like everyone is kind of reaching out and like helping each other up. And there's so much beauty in that.
Yeah. And you see it, like you said, especially in Bitcoin, because it is decentralized. I mean, Bitcoin is, I'm falling more and more in love with Bitcoin specifically as I learn more. And then as I learn more and I become more in love or infatuated with it, then I learn even more. And it's just sort of this beautiful new relationship I have is with Bitcoin and with you.
And our beautiful crypto community, like our own little crypto ethic community, is so beautiful and so enriching. And so anyone watching this who wants to be part of a community, then do reach out to join. We would love to have you join. But it's so beautiful, the souls that you meet and are warmed by, and that love, like it's a genuine love. I'm exactly the same. I feel there's always things to grow in this space, and there's always things to learn, and it's just this loving, healing, beautiful relationship, no matter like the price. It's really extraordinary, but like I really don't I'm not connected to the price. And I think for me, Bitcoin, I'm always going to hodl it. Like I always want to hold it. So if it goes low or it goes high, it doesn't matter to me. So I don't have a relationship to that value, to that price piece. I have some money that, you know, I probably will take a bit of profit from when it goes up, but like there really isn't, there's so much more to Bitcoin. Like that price piece, it's just in fiat value. And so that like if you're worrying about the price, you're still worrying about fiat, right? You're still worrying about our traditional sense of value in that way. And it's nice to just not have to worry, and just to be so enamored by Bitcoin beyond the value. That makes
Yeah. Because it's sort of a new way of life, new way of doing it and understanding it. And how can you not fall in love with that?
perfect. Oh, all right, my lovely. Well, if anybody is watching and they're enjoying these conversations, firstly, if you want to learn, which we highly recommend,
now's the time.
It's absolutely the time. If you join our program, then we help to guide you through all of this material so that you can really move into this space with confidence and clarity, and like that foundation with which to kind of everything else can build upon. And yeah, it's the perfect time to learn. So definitely go to thecryptoethic.com and go to program to apply if you want to join the program. And if you enjoy just watching these YouTube videos, then please do like and subscribe.
Bell button, all. Hit that bell button and then click all. And what that does is it gives you the notifications for all our new videos. So every time we upload a video, you can get alerted to it. And it's really good for our algorithm, I hear, for YouTube algorithm, so that we get so more people can find us and join our conversations, our community.
Yeah. And we are putting these videos out at the moment every Sunday, every week. So you can always come to YouTube as well to see every Sunday what the new release is. But yeah, we would be so appreciative if you liked and shared the videos so that we can reach more people, because we do this for free. We're just having these conversations to share our love and to hopefully inspire others, and to help to be joyful faces in the space. Add to the joyful faces. So thank you for this conversation, Anja. It was so gorgeous.
Oh, thank you, Tansy. This was great. I love our little chats, fireside chats.
Me too.
So I'll see you next time then.
All right, my lovely. Bye.
Ciao.